You will remember that Travis had had a hard time. The girl had turned him down, and he'd gone floating in the river and found this wonderful pearl that he had. And he was so glad when Friday came and he could get out of that place. So he would go back to the ranch where things made sense. And so his daddy picked him up and said, well, did anything happen this week? And so Travis hesitated. Well, I got an A in algebra. I caught 2 passes, and I went swimming in the river. Well, I say you had quite a week, his dad said. Quite a week, said Travis. Well, when they got home, his mother hugged him, and he let her hold him close. He needed some comfort. So he said, here, I brought you something. And so he held out that pearl to her, and she looked at it, and he said, how did you come by this, Travis? Well, I found it in a mussel shell in the river. You can have it. I don't want it. His mother raised her eyes, and she said, I'll keep it for you. Someday you may find that you want it, and I'll give it back. So he was so glad to be home, and he flung his arms around his grandpa, and he said, well, Grandpa, you don't know how glad I am to be here. I thought this week would never pass. Oh, had a hard week, did you? Said the old man, coming out from under a tractor that he was greasing. He said, now, we're just about half time. We've got something planned, and you and I are going to go out, and we're going to spend the night in the old house that we have out there. We're going to just you and me. We're going to have a picnic. And he said, you saddle the horses. So his mother knew their plans and had everything packed for them to go for an overnight out there. So, and she told Travis, she said, now you take care of your granddad when he gets off that horse. He may not can stand up. So anyway, they were always looking after the old man who was so much a part of their lives. Well, Travis hadn't done horse in so long, but he was riding across the mesas and looking at all the things, and he galloped just for the fun of it. And the wind ruffled his hair and the mane of his gelding, and dancing and rose petals, and girls seemed very far away. So they reached this old hut that they kept from time to time, and the only people who ever really used it, of course, were the people who came from Mexico, who had stopped there on their way into the U.S. And there were some lumpy old bunks in there, but they decided to sleep out under the stars. And they were sleeping out there, and Travis said, Grandpa, did you know that the stars are brighter and bigger here than they are in town? And, well, it seems like it, son. It just seems like it. And do you know, Grandpa, I think folks are meaner in town. That's so? Well, I figure folks are about the same anywhere. Have you met some mean ones there in town? Well, I met a mean girl. I thought she was nice at first. Oh, ho, so you have met Delilah. Her name's Elizabeth. Well, never mind the name, Samson. Just don't let her give you a haircut. And for the first time, Travis could giggle about his faded first love. Grandpa, nobody in the world would compare teenagers in the 21st century to Samson and Delilah. Well, now, the stars are about the same anywhere. Samson and Delilah seem to be still playing their parts. But the world has changed in many ways, and that's why we're here, you and me, to sort things out and to help other people sort things out. Well, now, Grandpa, we're fine here to be helping other people sort things out. You and me, a silly kid? Oh, we won't be giving them advice, which cheap as it might be. We will let these folks sort things out for themselves under the stars and the wind. We're planning to have a trail ride on the place here for folks who want to come, bring their horses, ride over the land like we just did, and at night camp out here under the stars. It was your mom's idea, and I think it was a good one. People will pay to come here and ride their horses. Oh, yes, people will pay for a chance to ride here, ride around. We will make a little money, maybe enough to pay for it, but it will be our way of sharing what we've got here, Travis. Not money, but open spaces, fresh air, bright stars. We're mighty lucky, you know, and it would be stingy to keep it all to ourselves. Well, yes, I know some of the guys at school think we're rich. I guess we have a kind of rich. Yep, you and I are making a dry run this weekend to see how it'll work. Here we have water, a nice flat place to tether horses, and trails to ride. But, Grandpa, what about bathrooms? Oh, they can wash their faces in the creek, and we have some porta-johns brought out here next week before the highway. But now what I'm looking for is a point man. Your dad can't spare the time for this to coddle these old folks. I don't think I could stay in the saddle all day. Think you could you ride point? Me ride point? Just like in Lonesome Dove? Yes, like McMurray's Wild Tale, only you won't be keeping cattle in, just people, which may be harder. And I don't think you'll be leading them through rivers and snakes falling after them like Gus and his gang. What a dead-burn yarn. Well, there may be rattlesnakes, Travis reasoned. Well, they'll run for their holes when they hear you trampling horsefoots. So the next week, Travis lived in two worlds. At school, he was helping Sam with his algebra, working out in the football practice, dodging Elizabeth. But his mind was really on the trail ride, being point man, leading city folks through cedar breaks and rattlesnakes and getting them to water holes and answering their dumb questions. So on Saturday morning, Travis was appalled at the number of trailers and horses that showed up, and at 75, he quit counting. So he got in front of the crowd, and he was a little bit anxious, but he thought, okay, here goes the point man. Yah-haw, write 'em out. So they rode slowly, and Travis could hardly bring them along because they just kept oohing and awing at all the wonderful things they could see, all the hills and all the grasses that were above them. And that night, Travis went with his grandpa as he visited all the campfires they were set up, and he was being grandpa to all those folks, listening to their stories. Someone had brought a guitar, and everyone from campfires around began to sing, "Oh, give me a home where the buffaloes roam and the skies are not cloudy all day." Everybody was getting back to some roots or sprouting new ones that could take them away from the numbness of computer cubicles, failed dreams, and heartaches that might lay in the days ahead for them.